My name is Daniel Weiherer, and I worked with James Parham, and I'm from Santiago Canyon College. This summer I researched the fossils from the Eocene epoch, and I did it to reconstruct the environment of Orange County. It turns out it was a lot warmer and wetter. There was an open canopy rainforest and a river running through that occasionally flooded.
Hi, my name is Stacy Guzman. I'm a biology major, and this summer I worked at the Cooper Center with Dr. Jerry Lips and Jeannine Pedersen for the STEM² program. So my research was the reconstruction of the prehistoric shore environment through the analysis of shell midden at Orange County, specifically Pelican Hill, Newport Beach. And basically a shell midden is a garbage disposal that you could find bonefish and different shellfish and rocks. So what I decided to do, I wanted to find out what the most abundant species were of shellfish. So I found out that I had about 19 different species for my specific site. So I decided to do a random sampling to find out what were the most abundant that they were choosing from. So I did a 30%, a 20%, and a 10%. I found out that there were the most Haliotis, Keon, Osculorita, Argopecten, and Mytilus. I have an Argopecten right here. And by finding out which were the most abundant species, I could see the nutritional composition, which is the protein, the fat, the carbs. And as we can see here, there's mostly protein in the shellfish. But I also wanted to see the meat size of the shellfish. So by looking at the nutritional composition, we can find out that there's 9.06 grams of meat size for just one Mytilus, a shellfish. And if you compare it to a mule deer, for example, there's about 4,500 grams of meat size. So it would take about 4,000 shellfish to compare to the meat size of the mule deer. And looking at the meat size, I was able to see that before they used to do these Big Macs and they would have different shellfish there, they would cook about 1,000 different shellfish. And also these shellfish, it was easier for people then to pick them up since they were so close to the shore environment. And little kids and even women could go grab shellfish and put them to cook. So overall, I went back to my site to see what the abundancy is now, and I found out that there's more of the California Haliotis, the oyster here that I have here. There's much more abundancy of these now. And yeah, the shellfish, they did play a role, a primary role for the prehistoric people just at that site.
Hi, my name is Roseanna Garcia, and I go to Citrus College, and I work with Gabe Santos and Dr. James Parham. Now, the Eocene occurred 56 to 33.9 million years ago. The Eocene has been noted for bearing the first appearances of modern groups of mammals. Unfortunately, Eocene findings in Southern California are uncommon and not as well studied as findings in the Western Interior. But it was not until 1999, during the construction of the Talitha housing development, that the largest Eocene terrestrial bone bed was discovered. We broke this up into 48 square meter sections. We refer to these sections as jackets. Currently, only one jacket has been fully prepared, and two of them are in the process of being prepared. One at the Cooper Center and another one here at the Fullerton lab. Now, the main focus point of my research was trying to determine an age range for this Talitha bone bed. In order to do that, we needed to use fossils found from the Talitha jackets and compare them to fossils found in surrounding sites. As you can see here, the Brontotherium has the longest age range, so it doesn't really help us narrow down the age range of the bone bed any farther. But these other 7 taxes, they start at the Uinta and end at the Jeannine, which is about 46.2 to 38 million years ago. So that definitely helped us narrow down the age range to be somewhere Uinta and Jeannine. Now, we wanted to see if we can narrow down the age range even farther, possibly either to one stage or the other. As you can see, Proterodon and Paranumes has an equal black bar. So that means there was an equal distribution of these species in the Uinta and the Jeannine stage. So that doesn't really help us narrow down the age range even farther. But these other 5 taxa, it gets darker towards Uinta and gradually gets lighter when it gets to the Jeannine, meaning there was more of an abundance of these species in the Uinta stage. But it was not until the finding of the Dicolemur pacificus tooth in the Boabiciphinus vertebrate, and according to Kelly 2012 report, that these species have only been found to live during the late Uinta stage, which is about 44 to 41.5 million years ago. So the finding of these 2 vertebrae and the Dicynema pacificus tooth in archipelago jacket has definitely narrowed down the age range to most likely be late Uinta, so 44 to 41.5 million years ago. That's it.
Hi, my name is Jazmine Titular. I'm from Cypress College, and my faculty member was Dr. Nicole Venuso. My project focuses on how climate changes affect organisms, and it was focused on the Pliocene, which was the last warming period that our Earth experienced, and it was actually hotter than modern day. My samples came from Borderfield State Park, which is up the border of California and Mexico. And from there, what my goal was to do was to extract as many fossils as I could from the 3 different layers, and I was supposed to identify and count them. I was trying to basically show the different abundance and diversity found within each layer. And I found that through time, Horizon C is the oldest and Horizon A is the youngest. I found that through time, both diversity and abundance increased, as well as the types of ecological characteristics. So I actually learned that the warming period of that time probably improved the ecosystem and environments for these marine invertebrates to live and thrive and evolve.
So my name is Conrad Spragur. This summer, I'm from San Diego Canyon College. I'm transferring to UCI this fall quarter. This summer I worked down at the Cooper Center in Santa Ana. It's an affiliate of Cal State Fullerton. What I did was I worked in the Archaeology lab, and I worked with a specific artifact from the Milling Stone Horizon. The Milling Stone Horizon existed from about 6,000 to 3,500 BC, so 8,000 years ago. And they were called the Milling Stone Horizon because they used manos and metates, which are milling stones, for grinding, processing food, and stuff like that. So I worked with the cogstones. They're unique to Southern California, primarily Orange County. And then what I did was I made a breakdown as well as a map to show the different types of cogstones and then the different types of stones that were used and roughly where they are located on a map. So at the Cooper Center we have 4 distinct types. There's also a couple other types of cogstones that are a little bit less common. The most common one is landing groove, which is this one right here. Very definite edging, very definite cogs all the way around the stone. Another one is the summer squash. It's similar to the landing groove, but imagine one side the diameter is a little bit smaller and it kind of tapers off. Another very common type is fish vertebrae, and with fish vertebrae there's always a perforation in the middle like this. Sometimes it goes all the way through, sometimes it does not. And then another common type is unidentified, or basically what happened is they started working on it, or it got damaged, or just the edging, like on this one, is indefinite. So as far as the breakdown goes, we have 3 really significant sites that have the most cogstones out of all of the sites we were looking at, which is CAORA 83, 58, and 950. 83 up here had well over 120, 130 cogstones. We call that the cogstone site as well as the Bolsa Chica site. Another one was 58, which is down here by Costa Mesa, just a little bit east of the Santa Ana River. That one had quite a few cogstones. I did some work down at UCI in the Special Collections library and found a lot of cogstones that had previously not been documented. So that was very interesting to look at that and be able to accumulate that data. And then 950 I actually worked on last summer. It was the only site I worked with last summer. And again, another significant site, they had about 12 cogstones found there. So across the board, basalt is the most common type of stone used by these people to make the cogstones. And then again, across the board, as far as typologies, the stones that look like this, landing groove, is the most common, aside from unidentified or undifferentiated, whether it be broken, worn down, eroded, something like that. And that's just for these 3 main sites. When looking at all the other satellite sites that maybe had 1 or 2 or 3 cogstones associated with it, aside from unidentified or undifferentiated, again, basalt and landing groove are the most common types. So we believe this was their preferred medium, their preferred style, and it probably had a lot of significance to them culturally, as well as possibly religiously, ceremonially, and going back and forth trading between people.
It's running really good.